Intro.
What did I say last time? Probably need to watch that real fast. Hold on.
Like, hey, all.
Why isn't that? No.
Starting out, everybody, welcome to the Trennon and Ryan Sports Show. I'm Trennon. That's Ryan. Ryan,
All right, I'm going to shoot it over to you. So just say that's Ryan again, and I'll do my little spiel.
All right.
Whew. I'm almost ready.
Take your time. Take your time.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name's Trennon. That's Ryan.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan. Welcome to the Trennon and Ryan Sports Show. Week 2, episode 2. We're both very excited. Are we excited, Ryan? Are we excited?
We are very excited. We got a good show. We're going to talk a little bit NFL, actually. We're going to talk about we're going to recap the AFC and NFC Championships and, kind of talk about who's going to be in the Super Bowl. Got a little bit of college football and college basketball talk as well.
Right, that's right. So before we get started, I just want to plug a couple things. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Trennon Podcast Network. So like and subscribe. So every time that you like and subscribe, please share with your friends. That's really helpful. We're trying to grow this, trying to reach more people, obviously.
Yep.
I'd like you to follow both me and Ryan on Twitter. Ryan's at Ryan Gunn. That's 2 N's on the end of that gun. 27. Ryan Gunn 27. Mine's Trennon Betts. At Trennon Betts. So at Ryan Gunn 27, at Trennon Betts. So those are my plugs. Please like, share, subscribe, send it to your friends. If they're interested in this kind of stuff, sports talk, please share it with your friends, your family, whoever. We want to get this out to as many people as possible. You know, like we said last week, we love doing it. We love sharing it with other people. We want them to hear what we got to say about our sports talk. We think we've got interesting takes, interesting things to say. We're not just shooting the crap here. We're actually putting down good content, I feel like. So please like, share, and subscribe. But
yeah, please.
I'm going to walk us into it. Let's talk about the AFC and NFC Championship games. They happened last week. And by the way, before I get started, next week we'll have 2 episodes. Ryan, I don't know if you know that yet. But we're going to have 2 episodes. We're going to have our normal college talk episode, and then we're going to have an NFL episode. So get ready for that as well. So we're going to talk AFC, NFC Championships. We can start with the AFC Championship.
Okay.
No, NFC Championship, sorry. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Green Bay Packers 31-26. Ryan, did you watch it?
I did. It was a good game. It was probably the best game out of the 2, I thought. It was really interesting. I mean, it's 2 of the most legendary quarterbacks of all time going up against each other. Neither one of them really excelled in that last quarter and a half. Tom Brady threw up, 2 picks in the second half. Aaron Rodgers easily could have capitalized on that. Just didn't, unfortunately for the Packers. The Buccaneers had a very good defense, and they held Aaron Rodgers in the second half and won the game.
I think there's something to be said about that, because if my memory serves, Tampa Bay went to the halftime leading 21-10.
Mm-hmm.
And then Aaron Rodgers and them kind of stormed back.
Yeah.
But Tampa Bay's defense really did. I mean, Tom Brady threw a lot of, I think, 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And that Tampa Bay defense, I don't think, allowed 1 first down off of both interceptions. That's really says something about the talent.
Yeah.
I was talking to my buddy the other day, like, they have like the 2013 All-Pro NFL team. They've got Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski. On the defensive line, they have Jason Pierre-Paul and Dominican Sue. I was like, man. This team would have been the dominant force. Well, they're still pretty good. They would have been the dominant force in like 2014, 2013. They would have been the team to watch out for.
Yeah. I mean, they're still in the Super Bowl. I think they got a good chance. I mean, the Bucks and the Chiefs played each other in the regular season. The Chiefs won by a field goal in Tampa, which, I mean, Super Bowl is going to be in Tampa too. So, maybe it'll happen again.
Yeah, that's true. The Tampa Bay should be noted. COVID year 2020. Tampa Bay is the first team to ever play the Super Bowl in their home stadium.
Yep.
I think that's quite remarkable. Tom Brady, I mean, is there a question in your mind that Tom Brady is now the reason for the Patriots dynasty? Or do you think, well, I think quarterback is just so important that you could argue that he is the reason? Because you've seen Bill Belichick had nothing. Cam Newton, a shell of what he was in Carolina a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So I think Tom, I mean, he has to be, you could make the argument now that he is the reason.
I think it definitely. I mean, the Patriots always have good teams. That helps. But I mean, he literally left, a very good New England team that was in the playoffs. I think they had 12 wins last year. And the very next year after he left, they're down to, was it 6 or 7 wins, 7-9. And Tampa, Tampa was not in the playoffs last year, and now they're 11-5 in the Super Bowl. I mean, I think Tom Brady definitely helped the Patriots dynasty. There's no question about it. The quarterback position in football is probably the most, influential position. So, it's got and Belichick's a great coach. Patriots have had phenomenal teams in the past, great players. But I think Tom Brady's got to be noted as one of the best to ever play the game.
He should be. And Aaron Rodgers, man. Aaron Rodgers, I don't know, like the insane decision to not go on it. You know what I'm talking about when they're at the end of the game and their head coach, his name escapes me. Green Bay's head coach escapes me right now, but decides to kick a field goal instead of going for it. They take a touchdown game. They kick the field goal to make it a touchdown game. Now, if you have no confidence in your offense to score there, I understand. But if you go for it and you don't get it, you still put Tampa Bay all the way back there in the end zone.
Yep.
I mean, maybe unless you're so scared of that 2-point conversion. I mean, if you score the touchdown on 4th and you don't get the 2-point conversion, it's the same thing as taking the field goal. There's no difference.
Yep.
So you're putting the same amount of trust in your defense. That's what that move was, absolutely bonkers. And he didn't, I feel like that guy didn't get a lot of crap for it.
No.
And that decision, man, you have Aaron Rodgers, you're 4th and 8. You got to make a move, man. That's the game. That's the football game.
Yeah, I saw a post yesterday. It said that the Green Bay Packers are the Notre Dame of the NFL. They
That's funny.
Get to the playoff, and then they just don't win it.
That's hilarious because that's true. Aaron Rodgers only won 1 Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, and as you said, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks to ever play. If you look at his touchdown to interception ratio, it's phenomenal. I don't know the stat in front of me, but it's got to be one of the best, top 3 at least. And you're right there. You're in the red zone.
You've got to make a move. You've got to make a move.
Exactly. You have one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. Go for it. Let him do it. If he doesn't do it, oh well. But at least try to get it. Try to get that touchdown. But they didn't go for it.
No, they did not. And I will say, last thought on this game though. Mm-hmm. Do you think? We'll save Super Bowl predictions for the Super Bowl show, so this is not going to be a question. Do you think Aaron Rodgers stays in Green Bay?
I think so. If you're looking at where he could possibly go, I mean, obviously a lot of teams would love to have him, but would you take a 38-year-old Aaron Rodgers, or would you take I would fresh out of college, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, whoever? Or even, a guy in his prime like Matthew Stafford.
I can see Aaron Rodgers. This is just a hot take I have. I have no proof that this is going to happen. We all know Aaron Rodgers played his college ball at Cal.
Yep.
I was thinking I wouldn't be surprised if you see Aaron Rodgers go back to Los Angeles and play for the Rams, man. I could see him playing for the Rams. I mean, I read an article today that they're having a quarterback competition between Jared Goff and that. I think that guy's name is Danny Werfel or something like that. I could be wrong about that guy's name, but it's crazy that I mean, Aaron Rodgers could go in there and really wins 2 Super Bowls, just like John Elway did. He's a talented guy.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And he's had some phenomenal teams at Green Bay too. And if you look at like the past Green Bay records, while he's been in Green Bay, pretty much always 10 wins and above. Just the 1 Super Bowl though, which is probably a blight on his resume. He's still a Hall of Famer no matter what, I feel like. I mean, there's no question. But I'm not sure if
Never say he was the best to ever do it because he didn't win enough at the end of the day.
No. But I mean, like, it's hard to say if he would go to the Rams. I mean, I think that's interesting. I mean, it'd be really cool if he did. But you have to think about, I mean, I know Jared Goff hasn't performed very well ever since the Super Bowl run he had a couple of years ago. But I mean, he's still young. He's still a young quarterback. Will they switch it? I don't know, but I guess we'll see.
Right. Well, sounds good. So transitioning to the AFC Championship game.
Yep.
We've got the Chiefs beating the Buffalo Bills 38-24. Thoughts?
Chiefs look good. They look really good. And they were missing their number 2 wide receiver, Sammy Watkins, which obviously he's not Hill, but he's still a phenomenal receiver. But I mean, Bills came out to an early lead, 9-0. It's a weird, lead to get, but that's what they had, and they blew it. They straight up blew it. They just could not get anything going after
competition.
The quarter.
Yeah.
Mahomes, Kelsey, and Hill. Sorry, excuse me. They just came out and just put it on them. I mean, I stopped watching, I think, in the third quarter because it was over at that point.
Yeah. So Patrick, I think I was listening to someone on a podcast, and the guy said we forgot how good the Chiefs were. I mean, a lot of the year, this Chiefs team has only lost 1 game, but a lot of the year they kind of coasted their way along. Like they're sure they won, but they didn't wow us. And I think they showed us on Sunday that how good they really are and how good they can be. Patrick Mahomes looked amazing. He threw for 325 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, they just have an abundance of weapons and abundance of people playing the position for them. I mean, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, all great players. I mean, I think the Buffalo Bills will be there eventually. They will have their moment. But as for right now, the Chiefs own the moment. You know what I mean? They're going to, I think, no spoilers ahead, but I think they have a good chance of beating Tampa Bay and winning another Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, they're very young. I mean, Josh Allen is what, 3rd, 4th year quarterback?
3rd year.
3rd year. I mean, he was phenomenal this year. He needs to work on his accuracy just a little bit. But I mean, he's got throw over a mountain.
He's all
I mean, he's a good quarterback. They got a good young team. They'll be back next year.
Yeah, they'll be back in a good position. I think Kansas City. The thing that scares me about them, I think they're going to be around for a long time.
Yeah, they might be a dynasty, honestly.
Man, they got a good thing going there in Kansas City.
Very good.
Patrick Mahomes is just a dominant force, man.
Yeah, I think he's
around him too.
Best quarterback.
They got good players around him. That their offensive line is solid. They have a good running back in Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Even their backup running backs. I mean, Le'Veon Bell and Damian Williams. It's ridiculous.
Darrell Williams.
And Damian Williams. He
scored. He had 52 rushing yards, and McCole Hardman also had 50 rushing yards.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. Well, McCole Hardman I guess he's a wide receiver because he
Yeah,
had
he's a wide
one
receiver.
carry or 50 yards. So I was about to say he must be a wide receiver or something.
Yeah, he had a jet sweep and
Yeah, it must be a jet.
yards.
That makes sense. But yeah, man, I'm telling you, Kansas City, good team. Here to stay for a while, folks. Get ready. They're the future of the NFL. Patrick Mahomes is the face of the NFL
Mm-hmm.
already, I would assume. I would say he's probably got a couple, maybe Tom Brady retires. If Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl, you think he retires or do you think he moves on?
I think he retires. He'll be 44 next year.
He's
It's
old.
interesting. It's going to be interesting because the Buccaneers is definitely the veteran team. As you said, they're the stars of 2013 and 2014.
Old versus young. He passing them the torch. Man.
It's the young guns versus the vets.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so that concludes our AFC and NFC talk. So let's go ahead and move on to college football. Any college football news, any college football stats, sports, transfers, we're going to talk about it now. Ryan, why don't you lead us off?
All right, so we're going to start with a little bit of South Carolina news. South Carolina Gamecocks. They have had a lot of activity in the transfer market, actually.
Let it be known that me and Ryan are both not big South Carolina people, but go ahead.
We are not, but as evidence. But
Live in South Carolina, we got to talk about. We got to talk about it. We want to talk about it, but we got to talk.
So once Will Muschamp was fired as the head coach of South Carolina, they kind of had a little bit of an exodus. A lot of players opted out early and then declared for the NFL draft. A lot of good players, especially in the secondary. And then, once Mike Bobo left for Auburn, they lost their top recruit in the 2022 recruiting cycle, who was 5-star quarterback out of Georgia, Gunnar Stockton.
Stockton, that's right.
He has decommitted from Carolina, and that was a couple weeks ago. And he is leaning right now towards Auburn, and Georgia's in the mix too. So that was a big blow for them. And once Shane Beamer was hired, they started kind of losing some 4- and 3-star recruits. Their recruiting class really isn't honestly really anything to talk about. I think they ended with no 4-star recruits, no 5-star recruits. So a little shaky. And then they also had a couple transfers out. So Ryan Helinski, who was a big story 2 years ago, he's transferred from South Carolina. He's just announced his destination a couple days ago of Northwestern in the Big Ten.
Big grab for Northwestern.
Yep. So he will. Funny story. He's actually going to go up against former Clemson player Hunter Johnson, and they'll be battling it out for the starting position at Northwestern.
I watched the video. I don't mean to interrupt, but I watched a video about Hunter Johnson the other day.
Yeah.
I saw a YouTube video. I was just scrolling. You know how you randomly scroll through YouTube. And I saw a video in the fall of Hunter Johnson.
I saw that one too. Yeah.
Oh, you saw that? And I was watching it, and I was like, did he die or something? But I was like, what happened to him? But man, that guy, whoever that video guy was, I guess that's just what happened to him. But
yeah,
poor Hunter Johnson.
Yeah, poor Hunter Johnson. He was a former number 1 overall recruit, who's just kind of a little segue, but he's former overall recruit, number 1 overall quarterback recruit who committed to Clemson, got beat up by Kelly Bryant, and eventually again beat up by Trevor Lawrence, and decided after some family issues to transfer back to Indiana, where he's from, to Northwestern.
I believe his mom had cancer or something. That's why
something like that.
From that area. Something like that. But he was a good player, man. I mean, circumstances, you can't. How could he have known that Trevor Lawrence? I mean, he's number one pick in the NFL draft is going to come along. That's hard to pick. Exactly. But I think it'll be a good QB battle. Is it really those are the two guys that are going to be going for it?
Yep.
At Northwestern.
Northwestern's a good team too. So
Pat Fitzgerald today for Northwestern signed a 10-year contract extension.
Yeah, got a 10-year extension. It's pretty awesome.
To take that Northwestern football program and do some stuff with it, like he has. Mm-hmm. He's a good football coach, man. I'm surprised other colleges haven't looked at him because, man, that guy if you can coach there, man, good for you. It must be pretty good for job. Yeah, he has a lot of success at that little school in Chicago.
Yeah.
They really think they shouldn't be as good as they are, but man, they're dominant. They're
They
pretty.
are good. And
Yeah.
Big Ten championship last year.
I think I saw they went to the Big Ten championship a couple years ago.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
That's like crazy. They shouldn't be like.
No.
You would think like especially in the Big Ten West, where you think like Wisconsin,
Nebraska, yeah.
Nebraska, Minnesota,
Iowa.
PJ Flag, Iowa. You wouldn't think, but man, they're apparently the team to beat in the Big Ten West.
Okay.
Who would have thought, huh? Who would have thunk it? All right.
Exactly.
Anyway, continue with your transfer news.
Yeah, so South Carolina lost a decent amount of good players too, besides Ryan Helinski. They lost Joseph Anderson, who was a former four-star defensive end. He's going to Purdue, also in the Big Ten. They've been working to get some new players in. Unfortunately, they are not to the caliber that the players they lost. They've been looking mainly at FCS transfers, players transferring from essentially it's still Division I technically, but it's really Division II. So pretty much Division II transfers into South Carolina. The recruiting sites are saying that these players are pretty much 2, sometimes 3-star players. But on the edge of good news, Carolina did recently get a really good recruit from the transfer portal. Jakeem Green is a former 4-star defensive tackle. He transferred from Nebraska and is transferring to South Carolina. So that's big news for them. Carolina has a ton of great talent on the defensive line. So Carolina's defensive line will be fantastic next year. I have no doubt about it. I mean, they literally have, it's loaded with 4- and 5-star recruits on that D line. And it's deep. Carolina also has a good quarterback in Luke Doty, but the rest of the team.
Think about that team next year. SEC football schedules came out today. Let me see if I can find that real fast.
Yeah, I think Carolina's going to struggle. They lost a lot of talent in the secondary. Lost a lot of talent at receiver. They lost some talent at running back. And I don't know a whole lot about their offensive line, but I've heard it's a little weak. I think their quarterback is going to be really good. I think Luke Doty is a good quarterback. I'm just not sure if he's going to have a lot of success because the offensive line's caving in on them and he doesn't really have any targets.
Their schedule, I'm looking at their schedule right here. It doesn't seem too difficult. They open up with Eastern Illinois. That's a win. They travel to East Carolina. That could be difficult. I mean, you're at East Carolina. If there's full stadiums, like they're saying there could be, it could be kind of difficult. I'm not sure about that. And then at Georgia, Kentucky, Troy's at home. That's not no walk in the park.
Yeah,
so
winnable.
Hard out.
Winnable.
Then they're at Tennessee, Vanderbilt, at A&M, Florida, at Missouri, Auburn. I don't know what to expect from Auburn this year. I think they're going to kind of suck.
Clemson at home. They got Clemson and Williamsburg
at home.
If it happens.
So I think it'll be I could see them going like 4-8.
Yeah, and Shane Beamer's not a bad coach.
I think they'll beat Vanderbilt. I think they can beat Auburn.
I think they can beat Tennessee too. We'll segue into that next. But but Shane Beamer's not a bad coach. It kind of feels like Carolina's trying to recreate Clemson with Dabo Swinney, and hiring a guy who's pretty much just a tight ends and special teams coach. But Shane Beamer is an excellent recruiter. He's recruited phenomenally when he was at Oklahoma. So I think the first couple of years will be rough at Carolina. I really do. But I think, once he gets.
It really depends on the development of that Luke Doty. If they can get him going, then maybe. Exactly. If he's not the guy, they need to find somebody in the recruiting or the transfer portal that can come in and make a difference because, well, it depends too. I don't know if he has anybody to throw to. They've got a good running back. If Marshawn Lloyd can come back from his ACL injury, and that running back, Kevin Harris, they have some decent little skill players, but he's got to make sure he's got some people to throw to, and that offensive line needs to shore up, and they'll be pretty good, I think.
Is Harris coming back? I can't remember.
Probably. I don't see why he would leave. Let me see. But anyway, who's the next school we're talking about?
The next school is kind of a train wreck here, and that is the University of Tennessee.
Yeah.
Um, it's a mess over at Tennessee. So the NCAA caught them. It's not been specified exactly what it is that they were caught doing, but something about recruiting. Dan Patrick reported that they were handing out McDonald's bags full of money to recruits. Um, I don't know if it's
Here's your
true.
Happy Meal. That would make me happy. That would make me happy. Give
It
me
would
your
make
Happy Meal too.
Dan Patrick also reported that Georgia was in the mix for that too, but we haven't heard anything about it, so I'm not sure exactly how valid that report
I saw
is.
Jeremy Pruitt is getting hired today. He's
Oh,
going to
really?
the Jets coaching staff
Hmm.
in some
Might
capacity.
be a good move for him. But Tennessee has had a vast array of decommitments from their current recruiting class, and they are a huge exodus of players going into the transfer portal. As of right now, Tennessee has 22 scholarship players in the transfer portal.
Ooh.
22. That's their
Okay.
current players. That's not even counting like recruits coming in who have decommitted or even like some of their transfers who were originally said, "Hey, we're coming to Tennessee." They've decommitted to. They decided to go elsewhere. Um, so they have 22 um, players trying to get out of there as fast as possible because sanctions are coming. Um, Oklahoma has decided to pick up a good number of them. They got Wanye Morris, who's a former five-star offensive lineman. They also got Key Lawrence, the former four-star safety. And it looks like they're about to get Eric Gray, who's a former four-star running back. Um, I mean, they're going everywhere, and it's looking pretty bad in Tennessee. They're not going to have a good season next year. They lost 3 quarterbacks, one of which was their starter. Um, Pretty much the only good news coming into Tennessee right now is they just hired a new head coach today.
Josh Hupel. And it
Josh.
depending on who you ask, that is not good news. There are a lot of Tennessee fans today that were very mad on Twitter. I believe the UCF
Mhm.
athletic director, his name's Danny White.
Yep.
He was hired to be Tennessee's defensive. I mean, to be their athletic director.
Yep.
So he hires then Josh Hupel, who is actually UCF's coach. So
Yep.
it's a very, I don't know if it's a concerning move for Tennessee fans, but it's a very interesting move.
So there were a lot of reports that Tennessee was trying to get Clemson's offensive coordinator Tony Elliott. He apparently told him no.
I'm not gonna go either there either.
Exactly.
But all the NCAA sanctions they're going to be under.
Yeah. Josh Heupel is actually a former Oklahoma offensive coordinator. He was the offensive coordinator right before Lincoln Riley took the position, and he was also Oklahoma's former quarterback in the 2000 season when Oklahoma won the national championship.
Oh wow!
Um,
Did not know that. Very cool.
but his time at Oklahoma as an offensive coordinator was very mixed. I mean, it was really before the Baker Mayfields, Kyler Murray's, Jalen Hurts, Spencer Rattlers got there. They did not have the quarterbacks that they have now. So you can kind of make that case. He had a couple of good seasons at UCF. Last season was a bit of a dud, but it was also a COVID year. But we'll see. I mean, Tennessee's going to be a dumpster fire next year. There's just no doubt about it. I hate to say it for Tennessee, but
They're gonna lose. They're going to lose scholarships. They're going to lose. They're going to lose their bowl game, probably for maybe a year, maybe two. So it's going to be a lot of like once that hammer falls on them. I don't think they'll get the death penalty. Too big of a name, too big of a brand.
yeah,
But I think it's him. I think it's a shame. I think it's a shame.
it is a shame. But yeah,
He-
everyone's leaving right now.
I was
It's
listening
gonna
to
be
Tennessee fans talk, and they were talking not Tennessee fans, but I was listening to people talk about Tennessee, and Tennessee fans are so devoted to their team. They're almost comparable to the Buffalo Bill fans because they're so devoted to it's crap. You know what I mean? For so many years, Buffalo has been crap, but those fans have always been devoted. And I think Tennessee's the same way. They're so devoted to such an awful program that hasn't been any good since like the early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah.
Haven't been any. And another thing I would like to mention is how in the world do you not give T. Martin a shot? T. Martin, the old QB coach there now, won a national championship after Peyton Manning left a couple years
Yep,
ago.
their former quarterback.
They did not give him a shot at the job. And I think that's a big loss because that's somebody who cares about Tennessee. And reports are that Josh Heupel is not going to extend him, so he's gone. And that's I feel bad for that guy because the reports were that he was really upset and that his time is up at the end of this week. So I feel bad for that guy. I feel bad for T, but maybe he'll find himself there eventually. Maybe he'll find himself rooted in another program. Their schedule doesn't seem too terrible. I'm looking at it right now. Notable
I
games
was
at
shocked if they
Alabama.
beat Vanderbilt. Just gonna
They,
say it.
they should be able to beat Bowling Green.
Maybe we'll see.
Maybe. They
mean,
play
they've
Ole
lost.
Miss. They'll lose to Ole Miss.
They've pretty much lost all of their starters on both sides of the ball.
They'll lose to Georgia. They'll lose to Florida. They'll probably lose to South Carolina and Missouri.
They will lose to Bama.
Yeah, they'll lose to Kentucky too because Kentucky's going to be good this year. They'll have about 4 wins. It looks about 4 winnable games, but knowing Tennessee, they might blow the Bowling Green game at the beginning of the year.
They've done it before.
And then they'll definitely lose to Pitt, but we'll see what happens. You never know. They're in a rough spot right now. They're in
a really rough spot, but we'll see if Josh can turn it around. But it'll be a couple of years, right? Probably more than a couple of years. It'll be a while before Tennessee is. They haven't been good in a while, but it'll be good. It'll be a while before they're good.
All right, what's the next one?
All right, next one is a little bit of Clemson transfer news.
Fellow Clemson.
Yeah, so 3 players have transferred out of University of Clemson so far. 2 of which are former starters. They lost their positions last year. And the third one is a current starter, which is kind of shocking. The first one is Niles Pickney. He was former defensive tackle. He is transferring to Minnesota in the Big Ten. And then Jordan Williams is the other one, who's also a former starter at defensive tackle. He's transferring to Virginia Tech in the ACC. Really the one that was kind of shocking, it came out a couple of days ago, and caught me and Trennon by surprise, really, is starting linebacker Mike Jones Jr. Has decided to transfer. We don't know where yet, but he's the guy who took over for Isaiah Simmons at linebacker Clemson, which is obviously big shoes to fill. Like Isaiah Simmons is a first-round draft pick, and he's been doing great in the NFL with the Cardinals. But he didn't live up to Simmons. Obviously, it's hard to do that, but he's going to be transferring out, and it looks like, and we kind of called it in the last episode, saying that there might be some change up at linebacker, but wrong person.
That's what we thought.
Yeah, but it does look like Trenton Simpson, who was a former 5-star linebacker recruit out of North Carolina, will be taking over for him. Honestly, it sounds like it was writing on the wall. It sounds like Mike Jones
saw what was going to happen and just made a move before.
Yeah,
I think it's good for him. I think has he announced where he's going yet?
Not yet. No.
I think wherever he goes, he'll make an impact. I think he's a good player. I think most of Clemson's players could start anywhere in the country other than like 5 teams.
Yeah. He's a great player. He's a former 4-star linebacker recruit. I think Trenton Simpson was a true freshman last year. He got some good game time against Notre Dame twice and against Ohio State. He played like a true freshman, as I said in the last episode. But it sounds like we're aware of what's going to happen. This guy's going to be taking your spot. And I think Mike just said, hey, you know what? I get it.
But what did it for him was when the one linebacker, the senior linebacker, oh my gosh, what's his name?
Skalski?
Yeah, Skalski came back. As soon as he came back, he probably was like, this guy's going to get an automatic start. So they're going to try to play these true freshmen more. It's probably time for me to, pack my bags. I had a good run here. I don't think Clemson shoved him out the door or anything. I think it's just sometimes you just know.
Yeah.
And,
Clemson wanted to keep him, but they
Oh.
also have 2 5-star recruits that they're bringing in as true freshmen this year that probably the backups now.
So that's what I'm saying. Like when you're a guy like that and you have NFL aspirations and you have so much talent in your position, so much talent surrounding you, you have to think to yourself, I'm going to be competing with time. There's going to be a lot of time I'm not going to be able to play. They're going to use me in these situations. I might not be able to play the whole game. I might be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's going to be competition. You might not play at all. So he probably told himself, like, I need to go somewhere I can play all the time, be the man, be the guy, so I don't have to compete with these younglings and these young guys coming in, these people who are young, a lot younger than me. So I can go somewhere and be like the leader of a defense somewhere and be the quarterback of a defense instead of being the second, third, fourth, fifth guy. I mean, it makes sense. I get it.
Yeah, it makes sense. He's probably gonna be probably a 4th or 3rd round draft pick when he does go to the NFL. I imagine he'll go to a Power 5 school. He's from Florida, so I would not be shocked if he goes to
Miami, Florida.
Miami's been big in the transfer portal this year. I would not be shocked. Even FSU, I could see FSU trying to sneak in there.
Miami, that seems like it would make a lot of sense.
It'd be the best. I mean, it'd be the winningest team that he could probably, go to at this time.
Right. Well, all right. A Clemson schedule, I would talk about it, but I do not believe it's been released yet, so we'll have to save that for another episode.
Yeah. But the final, just kind of snippets of the transfer news. I mean, there are literally thousands of transfers, so we can't talk about all of them. But just kind of the big ones to kind of touch on before we move on to the next segment. Charleston Rambo, former Oklahoma receiver, had a breakout year last year, is transferring to Miami, Florida. It's a huge win for Miami, getting Derek King, who's coming back for, I think it's his 6th year as a starting quarterback. That'll be huge for Miami. I think Miami will really take that experience and be a team to watch out for, or one of the teams to watch out for in the Coastal Division. 2 quarterbacks from Oklahoma transferred. Both of them were former 4-star recruits. Chandler Morris, who used to be committed to Arkansas. He transferred.
Hey, loser.
Exactly. He transferred to TCU. He'll probably be a starter there. Tanner Mordecai transferred to SMU with former Oklahoma tight end, who's transferring from Auburn to SMU as well.
So that's the end of the SEC transfer news. I'm trying to find real fast Arkansas. I want to talk about Arkansas's football schedule real quick. I don't see anybody's posting it, so it's kind of annoying.
Oh, yeah, you got Texas.
Yeah, we got Texas.
Fun.
Eventually. That's what I get for not having it saved on my thing.
Let's see. It looks like he'll start with Rice. His first game of the season. It's a home game.
Yeah, we start with Rice.
Yep.
And then we have Texas at home.
Yeah.
I think we can win that game.
Your first 4 games are at home.
Nice.
Not bad. Texas will be interesting. They're Ellinger's out, but they're the incoming quarterback, Casey Thompson, I believe is his name. He played in the bowl game against Colorado, and he played pretty well. It may just be Colorado not being good, but we'll see what happens. They got a great running back who's expected to be a dark horse for Heisman, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, he has to face the Arkansas Razorbacks. I mean, I don't know. I think Texas. See, what's crazy about Texas? A lot of things crazy about Texas. But what's crazy about Texas is I don't think Steve Sarkisian is inheriting a bad football team.
No.
Like he didn't get what was it? Tom Herman didn't get fired because he was bad. They just found. I mean, they said in December
they were keeping him.
They were keeping him.
Yeah.
And then, man, could you imagine? I mean, that's rough. I mean, I feel bad for Texas. I don't feel bad for Texas. Never mind. I feel bad for Tom Herman. Texas. Screw Texas. Don't feel bad for Texas. I don't cuss on this meme, but screw Texas. Don't like Texas, but Tom Herman. I mean, could you imagine them bringing you in their office and be like, "You're safe, you're good, you're the future of this program," and then like a month later, bop, out of here you go. I would be devastated.
I'd be mad, but
Texas never got off the ground the way you think they should have.
no, and they always bring in top 10 recruiting classes. This year being the exception, really. They just don't develop the players. They really don't. It's not been. They bring in all these 5 and 4-star recruits from the state of Texas, and they don't do anything with them.
It's crazy. I mean, before Texas A&M is now kind of the toast of Texas, but before A&M joined the SEC, Texas would bring in 5-star. Texas had the pick of the litter, man. Whatever they wanted, they got it. Everybody wanted to go to Texas, and now it seems like things have changed. Like Texas A&M gets all that SEC money. You know, they get on TV more. Oklahoma's now the dominant force in the Big 12. Baylor has been better in the past than Texas has been. Yeah. I mean, Texas made the one Big 12 championship game, and they
lost.
They got blowed out, I believe, to Oklahoma. Am I right about that?
The final score was not indicative of the actual game. It was pretty close until the end.
Right. Okay. Yeah. See, I mean, Texas just isn't what they were. I feel like that's another the two teams, Tennessee and Texas. I feel like those two teams, people think they should be here, but in actuality, they're not. They're not what they used to be anymore.
Texas.
Say about Notre Dame.
Oh yeah, Notre Dame too. But Texas can get back to being a dominant power. They were just inches away. And who knows? Maybe Sarkisian's they got to do it.
I think so too. I don't think Texas is going to be a bad team. I just think
they're not going to be bad.
I think they're going to have some time. I think that's why I think Arkansas can beat them. It's because I think they can find themselves in a capacity where they're learning a new offense. It's only the week 2, so maybe that we have a chance. You know, Arkansas has a hard schedule. Arkansas always has a hard schedule. They never have an easy schedule. I don't ever think they will have an easy schedule. That's fun. Just the same schedule as last year, except friggin' get rid of Florida and throw in Texas. It's the same crap. But anyway, game 3, we're looking at Georgia Southern and Arkansas at the dub. Texas A&M versus Arkansas at Jerry World.
It's gonna be
Who
fun.
knows? Kellen Mond, I don't know what Texas A&M is going to do without him. He's going to be gone, I believe. Am I right about that? Is he leaving?
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, he has to be. He's been there for 100 years.
He's been forever, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, has Jimbo ever had a quarterback other than Kellen Mond? I don't think so.
At A&M now.
Arkansas at Georgia.
Yikes.
Ugh, gross. They blew us out with Stetson Bennett. I can't imagine JT Daniels not doing better than that. So, you know, whatever. I guess Arkansas at Ole Miss, they're going to be looking for revenge. I think we probably lose that game. I'm a little worried about Ole Miss. Auburn and Arkansas, I think we can win that game. Arkansas is probably pissed from last year. So I think that's a good chance that we kind of shake things up.
Fun game.
Auburn's down. They're going to be down this year. So
they'll be in Arkansas too, which will make it a whole lot more fun.
University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, dub, hot dub. You have the bye off on Halloween, kind of lame. Whatever, I guess. Mississippi State, Arkansas, I think we can win that one. Arkansas at LSU. You never know. We almost beat them this year. Maybe we can beat them next year.
LSU's going to be good next year, trust me.
You think so?
They're going to be good. They always do this. They win a championship, and then they just
like,
yeah.
I don't think so they fired Coach O for that. I shouldn't say that. I just don't. I like the guy, but I don't like the guy. I don't know. I think he's like Gene Chizik. You know what I mean?
He's better than Gene Chizik.
Gene Chizik won a championship. I don't think he's like.
He's better than Gene Chizik. He's a good coach. He's just
well,
I like him.
I don't really like him. I don't like LSU. So Arkansas, Alabama. I don't expect much from that. Never expect much from Arkansas almost beat Alabama years ago. Back in, I think it was Brett Bielema's like second year, maybe his first year. And Arkansas had Alabama. They beat us 13-12 because we missed an extra point. And they beat us 13-12, and we couldn't score on that. Man, that was before Tua. They had Jalen Hurts freshman year. That was the year they played.
That's a while back.
And then Missouri, we round out with Missouri at the end of the year. So I don't know about that game. We'll see.
Yeah.
Any other
Missouri.
SEC matchups? I don't think so. There's nothing of note. I mean, we know Alabama plays LSU. That'll be a game to watch.
Great game. Yeah.
LSU plays Florida at some point. I don't think there's anything that's just like groundbreakingly. Whoa.
Not that I know of. There's a lot of great non-conference games if that's still in play. But yeah, I don't think there's really
great conference games.
Yeah, let me see if I don't think there's any like mind-blowing in-conference games that I'm aware of.
I don't think so either. I'm looking at Alabama versus Miami. That could be interesting. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
first
probably a
season.
neutral people somewhere. That could, you never know with that game. I don't know what Alabama lost a lot of players, man. I don't know what they're bringing back.
Good everywhere except, I mean, receiver they still look good, but they look a lot weaker than they have in like 5 years.
They had a team last year.
Had a team.
Harder. I mean, you have LSU. It's hard to rebound after losing all them guys. I mean, LSU sucked this year.
Yeah, but we're talking about Bama. They're always good.
Nick Saban.
If you look at their recruiting classes and how, like their players, their current players, even after all those departures, they still look phenomenal. They have replacements for everyone except for Waddle and Smith.
Yeah, I mean, you can't replace either of those guys, man. I mean, you can't. You really can't. Those are some talented guys. All right. That concludes the college football section. So let's go ahead and move on to a little college basketball talk. And we'll wrap her up. So I want to talk about two main games, and then we can kind of delve into the top 25. I have some top 25 stuff listed here. We can from Saturday. So this is all Saturday stuff. Today they're playing some games tonight, but at the end of the show, I might do a little betting stuff. Well, we'll see what happens. But so Clemson lost to Florida State 80-61, complete blowout.
Yeah.
Right? I saw highlights from the game. I didn't get to watch it, but it was complete. It was on the ACC network. God. Enraging that Spectrum can't get a deal with Clemson, or I mean the ACC, whatever, I guess. So I had to box score the thing. It's absolutely freaking ridiculous, but whatever, I guess. And did you get to catch any of the game or no?
I caught a little bit of the first half. It was over by the second half, really. I think
so it was a
like 20 at halftime or something. It wasn't a game.
So I'm looking at here. Everybody had a bad game. The only person who had a good game was I believe his name's John Newman. John Newman III. He scored 12 points for him. Everybody, I mean, all their starters had low points. Clemson was here, and now they're back down where in reality.
All right now,
it's. And I think the ACC. Crazy. I think the ACC is kind of more. It's kind of taking shape a little bit more.
They're starting to rebound a little bit, like the big team. I think Duke's
like
doing
the big boys are
they're
going back to where they should be. You know what I mean?
Syracuse had a big win. Who was it against? Virginia Tech. They had a big win against Virginia Tech. So maybe Syracuse back too.
Yeah, I'm looking at the scores for the ACC this past Saturday. I'm trying to get to them at least. And this past Saturday, we're looking at Virginia beat Georgia Tech 64-62. Syracuse beat Virginia Tech.
It was ranked
78-60. Yeah, Virginia Tech was ranked. North Carolina ended up winning. They beat North Carolina's 10-5. They beat NC State 86-76. Duke lost to Louisville. Duke's garbage this year. Coach Gay got in some hot water, I saw, over Sniper Student Reporter. Come on, Dan. Go fake your heart attack and get ready for next season. Lord have mercy. And then Wake Forest beat Pittsburgh 76-75. Ooh, that was close. But yeah, ACC basketball, not right now, not what was what people thought it was going to be. I'm looking at the standings right now.
Not really, and if you're really looking at it is crazy because the ACC is not what really anyone expected, but the SEC is doing pretty well, even though Kentucky's awful.
Man,
Kentucky's awful. So, right now.
So I'm looking at the ACC standings right now, And right now, Virginia is not top. They haven't lost a game. And then it's Florida State and Virginia Tech and then Louisville. And then it's North Carolina, Pittsburgh, Duke, Georgia Tech, Syracuse, and Clemson. Clemson, they were really at the top of the mountain, and they're like way down right now.
Just dropped.
Yeah, they're not. I think it's. I've been saying this for a couple years now. I think it's time to get rid of Brad Brunell. I think it's time for him to go. Clemson, man, as much as I mean, look at Alabama. They're proving that a football school can be good at other things. And I think Clemson needs to devote some time and some resources to the basketball program. And I think that starts with getting rid of that Brad Brunell guy. I think it's time for him to kick the butt. Time for him to get out.
Honestly, I think the thing about Clemson is I don't think they care about basketball.
See, I think that's a problem. I think they should.
I think they're putting all of their money and their resources into football to stay at the top. I mean, let's be honest. Clemson should not be where they're at in football. I mean, it's a small school. Just the fact that they are the top two is incredible.
Right.
I think they're literally throwing every single resource to make sure they stay top of football.
I mean, their football program is, their football facilities, are
Incredible.
Incredible. I mean, they're mind blowing for a school like you said. That's kind of, Clemson's in the middle of nowhere. It's surrounded by nothing. I mean, yeah, sure. It's only probably like an hour or two to the beach, probably an hour to the mountains.
Not far from Greenville, but
man, they're probably. You're right. I agree. They're probably just devoting all their resources to football.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So the next conference, let's talk about let's talk about SEC. Let's talk about the SEC. Arkansas beat Vanderbilt 92-71 this past weekend. That's pretty good.
Not bad.
Not a bad win for the Hogs. The SEC is looking all out of whack. So
the SEC looks like a good conference, though. Kentucky sucks. I think they're 5-9
not good this year.
But SEC looks good. Auburn looks good. Mizzou looks good. Tennessee looks good.
So we got Alabama,
Alabama.
And then LSU, Tennessee, Florida, Missouri, Kentucky, and then Arkansas. A lot of people are predicting Arkansas makes the big dance, though. We'll see what happens. Our overall record right now is 12-4. Kentucky, for being so high in the SEC, they only they're 5-10. That sucks. So they're not good. They have lost about 10 games, but they've won 4 SEC games. So they just have a hard non-conference schedule, and they just sucked against it. Like they weren't very good at it. So
yeah,
I think
they should bounce back again next year, I'm sure.
Yeah, college basketball is so fluid, man. It's hard to say one way or another. They'll be back. COVID year. That's probably John Calipari's excuse.
Exactly. They'll recruit good again.
So they'll say COVID, whatever. So this coming weekend is the 30th. I'm pulling up the SEC top 20. I'm pulling up the top 25 matchups coming up this weekend. Alabama plays Oklahoma this weekend.
Ooh.
Number 5 travels to number 24.
And Oklahoma will definitely be raising in the ranks because they beat 2 top 10 teams this week.
Yeah,
they beat number 9 Kansas, and then last night they beat number 4 Texas 80-79.
Oh, really? So it must be the SEC. It's the SEC Big 12 Challenge this weekend.
It's gonna be great. SEC's looking pretty good. They got some good teams, as Auburn, Mizzou, Bama, and the Big 12. Baylor's number 2 in the country. Texas is good. Kansas is they're good.
Arkansas plays Oklahoma State.
I think so. Oklahoma State's best player, he might not play.
Against
Woo! Cade Cunningham didn't play against Baylor over this past weekend because of COVID. So
Yeah, it's supposed to be a Tuesday.
Arkansas might get a win.
Ooh, fingers crossed. You never know. I hope the guy's good. You know, he doesn't, suffer from COVID, but if he doesn't play, that'd be beneficial to the Hogs. Let me see some other games. Florida plays West Virginia. That'll be a good one.
That would be really good. West Virginia, I think we should be moving in the top 10. They beat Texas Tech the other day.
Auburn plays Baylor.
Good.
Auburn's not a bad team.
Nope. Auburn beat Mizzou.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Kansas plays Tennessee. That'll be good. And then the rest of the Kentucky plays Texas. Texas should wipe them up.
Texas should do well there. Yeah.
Yeah, there shouldn't be much of a competition. But yeah, other than that, let me check what Clemson's doing this coming weekend, and then we'll close her out, and that'll be it. Clemson plays Duke. Toss up. They both suck, so we'll see what happens.
I think Duke's gonna be a little bit of a favorite there. I'll be honest with you. That's not a great matchup. But yeah, also just want to mention Gonzaga beat Pacific by, I believe it was like 44 points.
Yeah, 95. That was a game that we highlighted last week. 95-49. Wow.
They crushed them.
Oh, wow.
Gonzaga looks good.
Villanova seems like a good
Providence.
squad. 71-56.
Yep, they beat Providence. Providence is a good team.
Yeah, and they're not terrible. That's true.
Number 2 Baylor beat Oklahoma State who did not have Cade Cunningham. They beat them 81-66.
Missouri beat Tennessee. That's good.
Good one.
I hate Missouri, but whatever. Houston beat Temple 68-51. Ohio State won against Wisconsin. That was a ranked matchup. 74-62. That's kind of a blowout. Creighton beat UConn. UConn was barely ranked at number 23. Virginia beat Georgia Tech by 2 points. That's close for as bad of a Georgia Tech team. West Virginia beat Kansas State 69-47. Syracuse beat Virginia Tech. We talked about that. Alabama trounced Mississippi State's 81-73. Alabama proving that they're the best team in everything, probably in baseball too. Next week, we will be talking a little college baseball. The schedules are released, so I think that'll be interesting. I have a guy that my buddy knows. We might try to get him on the program, see if we can interview him or something. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And he plays baseball for Clemson. Maybe we can interview him or something like that. But and Stanford beat UCLA and Oregon. Oregon, yeah. And that was an upset as well. So that kind of concludes the college basketball. Looking forward to this next Saturday for the Big 12 SEC Challenge. See what happens there. Let's see who Gonzaga's playing this coming weekend if they play. Villanova's taking on Seton Hall. That should be a win for Villanova.
That should be a win.
I know Gonzaga's playing Pepperdine, 7-7. So no matter what you think they win by, probably 30.
I think higher. I think 40.
40. I'd like to try to get the spread on that. See, maybe that'd be a good betting game.
Gonzaga is just going to crush their entire conference schedule. There's no team in that conference that can challenge them right now.
Right. I don't even know what conference they're in.
It's the WCC or something like that.
They're all weird conferences and stuff like that. But that's cool, man. Gonzaga's going up against Pepperdine. Villanova's going up against Seton Hall. There won't be much of a competition there. Arkansas against Oklahoma State, Clemson versus Duke. Those are the games we need to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
But I could talk about my own school. I don't even talk about my own school. I don't even know the name of the conference they're in. The College of Charleston.
It's the Colonial Athletic or something like that.
Yeah, it is the Colonial Athletic, isn't it? The Colonial Athletic Conference. It's not the Big South, is it?
Nah, that's CSU.
CAA, there it is.
Yeah.
I think, right? Yeah.
That's
We played James Madison, but it's postponed. Oh, yeah. CFC had a bunch of COVID cases. Rough.
Get well.
Postponed for now. But they're not having too hot of a year. They lost Grant Riller. He left, and he was the man. I want us to go to a game before the season ends. I'm going to look into that. But
yeah, definitely.
I think that'd be a lot of fun, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Well, This is the end of the show. Ryan, any final thoughts?
No, but you know, it was another good episode, and I'm glad we got to talk a little bit about transfers, and you know, stay tuned for you know, next week's 2 episodes.
Next week's 2 episodes. 2 episodes coming to you next week. How exciting is that? So remember to like and subscribe, Trennon Podcast Network. That's the name of my YouTube channel, Trennon Podcast Network. Like and subscribe. Ryan, say it. Like and subscribe. Say it, Ryan.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Click the like button and subscribe. Share it with your friends. Share it on whatever platform. Share, share, share. Please, if they like sports, if they like any sort of sports, tell them about this program. Carolina fans, Clemson fans, Arkansas fans, Alabama fans, it don't matter. If you're a fan of college sports or football in general, tell them to click this. This is the show that you need to be listening and watching.
Exactly. You'll love the show.
So the video format will be out this week, this Friday, and we're shooting for an audio format maybe this weekend as well. We'll see what happens with it.
Yeah.
But that's it. Make sure to follow me at Trennon Bets on Twitter, at Ryan Gunn 27 on Twitter as well. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Night.
Have a good one.